Okay. Who's representing for Tom McKay?
Is Colleen here? No, she's not here. Tom
Okay.
McKay's not represented.
Skip that one. The next
Okay.
one, that one. Skip that one. Songus Arena?
Yeah, we'll start with the special one-day license to sell and dispense alcohol beverages. And Elena Bates of the Rizzabaldry Museum for beer and wine. For events scheduled at the museum at 22 Shattuck Street for Thursday, February 12th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., the grand opening of the Show and Tell, the Art of the Narrative exhibition. Friday, February 13th, from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., the Café Noir, the Cabaret Experience, a theater performance. Also will be held on Saturday, February 14th, from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30, and Sunday, February 15th, from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Mark Caputo?
Is Mark here?
No, he's not.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
For all alcoholic beverages, Antonio Agawa of the Holy Ghost Society at Holy Ghost Park, 65 Village Street. There are 10 events scheduled starting with Saturday, January 31st, the Holy Ghost fundraiser from 6 to 1 in the evening. Holy Ghost Valentine's Day Buffet is Saturday, February 14th from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Carnival Weekend is 2009, Saturday, February 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. and also for Sunday, February 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. St. Anthony's Youth Group Dance, Saturday, February 28th from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. A Jack and Jill for Saturday, March 7th from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Liz Bentoncourt, a fundraiser is Saturday, March 14th from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Holy Ghost Queen's Ball, Trinity Princess Ball for Saturday, March 21st from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Radio event, George Kalo, Saturday, March 28th from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And the Convivio da Praia for Saturday, April 4th, 6 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay, if you'd be kind enough to introduce yourself for the record. Right into the mic. Just introduce yourself. Right there, in front of you. Yes.
Both of you.
Both of you.
Okay.
Go ahead first.
My name is Elena Bates, and I'm here from the Revolving Museum.
Very good, Lynn. Next.
My name is Antonio Giard. I'm from the Holy Ghost Society.
Okay, and Antonio, are you a member of the board of directors?
Yes, sir.
You are. What's your position?
I'm the director of the board and also the bar manager now.
Okay.
I'm in charge of the bar.
All righty. I don't see anything here that I can see could be a problem. Not going to do anything wild and crazy at your show and tell, are you?
No.
Okay, everybody's going to keep their clothes on and all that good stuff. Okay.
Under control.
Antonio, all of these are inside. You go until 2 o'clock in the morning. The only thing I caution you about is, people leaving. Tell them, let's leave nice and quiet and drive away orderly. Let the neighbors sleep, okay?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No question.
Any questions?
No questions. Make a motion to approve.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. You're all set?
Thank you.
Okay. The show and tell, is that for children or?
It's families.
It's a family thing? Okay. Yeah. We were down there for a neighborhood meeting that I was. Wonderful ideas, absolutely wonderful. Very, very nice, very well done. Is anybody here from the auditorium representing Tom McKay? Nobody, okay. Go to the next item. Songus Arena.
For public amusement, event at the Songus Arena, Jeffrey Lasante and Paige Shaler are here for concert, Mass Concerts, Inc. Jeffrey Lasante is the Director of Finance at the SMG. The event is Slipknot, Friday, February 6, 2009, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Paige Schaller, I'm the event manager for Songus Arena.
Okay,
I'm Jeff Lasante, Director of Finance for the Songus Arena.
okay. Just tell me a little bit about Slipknot. What is it?
It's a rock band.
Okay,
You got to define rock and roll for Jeremy Bayless here. He's not exactly sure about that newfangled stuff.
okay.
It's not Tom Jones, but
It's not Tom Jones, no? Oh. How about, something like
it's a-
Willie Nelson?
a little heavier than Willie Nelson.
Little heavier
yeah.
than Willie, huh? Oh, okay. Do you know who it is?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, see, look at this, you know? You
Matter
got
of fact,
anything
he's
you
already
want to
got his
ask her?
tickets.
Oh, no questions.
No question.
No
Would you like
questions.
to ask her something? Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve.
second it.
There you go. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're all set. Thank you very much.
This kid just showed up.
Okay?
That'll be a really good show.
Yep, flip.
Yeah, I know some.
Where do you want to go? All right, get him up here. Where is he?
Mark?
Come on up.
Commission will now review the application for a beer and wine by Mark Caputo of Say for Thursday, February 5th, 2009, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at 177 Merrimack Street. It's in conjunction with the City of Lowell sponsored cocktail competition.
Okay, introduce yourself for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Mark Caputo from Say.
Okay, tell me what you're going to do.
The city is sponsoring a cocktail competition that we're wishing to enter. It's on the one day, the Thursday, the 5th, from 6 to, I believe it's 6 to 10. And we're just wishing to make a champagne cocktail to enter into the competition.
Okay, and you don't have a liquor license there to start, do you?
We have a beer and wine license.
Beer and wine only,
Yep.
okay. Can we give them a one day? Okay. Oh, okay, sorry, yeah, flower, yeah. Oh, that's at the basket place we do, yeah. Yeah, yes, okay. Okay. Nice idea. Can we do that? Can we give them a,
Can you have a one day where you
can you have a one day where you already have a package store license? Okay. Is he, are you aware of how you go about doing that? You
Yes, I
have to
work with a
have separate-
distributorship, correct, to order special product just for the event.
Okay. You know, you have people that check IDs and the whole.
Yes,
Okay. You know, I've been in the store. It's a nice little store, and I think you guys have done a great job with it. I can't see any reason why they shouldn't do it.
No, I've seen the place. It's a nice place. You know.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve, seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All set.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Next on the agenda.
Commission will now take up the application for amplification permit on behalf of the City of Lowell. Christopher Samaras, representative for the Winterfest 2009. There'll be two venues, one at Arcan Drive, an open space, and an enclosed tent for February 6, 2009, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, and also for Saturday, February 7th, from 12 noon to 12 midnight. There will also be the venue at the Lowell 5-cent parking lot at 1 Merrimack Plaza, there being an enclosed tent for February 7th, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Christopher Smash with the City of Lowell.
You know, I don't see any problem with it. This is during the regular Winterfest hours,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody got any questions you'd like to ask them? Or,
Make a motion
you
to
know,
approve.
I guess-
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, you're going to get, both of these places are going to be going the same day, right?
Yes.
Both are going to be
on
open?
The tent
Okay.
on Lowell 5-cent parking lot, that's going to be Saturday night, and on the one on Arcan Drive will be Friday and Saturday.
Okay, so do you issue a separate license for each one, or how do you do that?
Well, I would issue a letter acknowledging each location. The Arcan Drive specifically has a couple of things going. You have a tent for the large crowd that will appear to go inside for music
Okay.
and drink. There will also be the viewing area for the human dog sled competition,
Yeah.
and there'll be sound system outside of that tent.
Okay. All set, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
I hope it snows. If you're not, you can come up my parking lot, I'll sell you some snow free, no problem at all. I have piles of it. Next on the agenda.
With respect to an application that was before the board on January 8th regarding a license application for Coffee House for 739 Lakeview Avenue, Mr. Colios of Dracut is retained legal counsel and counsel called the office earlier, trying to ascertain some background on Mr. Colios, and in doing so, he's asked that the matter be continued for our next meeting on February 12th.
Motion to continue to February 12th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
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 Next on the agenda.
Commission will now open the hearing on the allegations of misconduct as charged by Kenneth E. Lavalley, the Superintendent of Police, dated January 2nd, 2009, against the Europa Cafe, Inc., Joseph Samo is the manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 547 Central Street.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Attorney Michael Zame for the Europa Cafe. With me today is Mr. Joseph
Is the
Samayo.
mic on, Counselor? Okay. Pull it down a little or something, so.
Sorry. Starting again, my name is Attorney Michael Zame. I represent the Europa Cafe. Here with me today is Mr. Joseph Samayo and his wife Philomena Samayo.
Okay. Have you read the complaint?
Yes, we have.
Do you want it read into the record?
No.
Okay.
We're satisfied with the...
Why don't we start out with, tell us your side of it.
Well, I'd start off by saying, Mr. Bayless, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that the complaint states a violation of any violation, and the documents that have been provided don't support the allegations in the complaint.
Okay.
So I would call upon the city to prove them.
Okay. That's fine. The police, do you want,
The city would ask William Taylor to come to the stand to testify.
Good afternoon.
can you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Certainly,
As
William.
if I didn't know, but,
William Taylor, I'm a captain with the Lowell Police Department.
yes. Yeah.
Is it all right if I come up here so I can take notes as
Oh, absolutely, sure. Take these seats right here.
And bring
You
your
have,
client with you if you'd like.
Mr. Simone, your client, his wife, they want to sit right there. Absolutely. Yep, no problem at all. We got accustomed to having people stand there because when they first put this system in, that was the only way they could focus the camera, but we got high tech.
And the camera guy's really good, too.
Yeah. Okay, do you get Captain Taylor's name, Captain William Taylor? He's, okay. That is definitely him. Do. Can you just tell us, in your own words first?
Certainly. On November 9th at approximately 1:30 a.m., I was assigned as the supervisor for the City of Lowell Police Department. He's the bar check supervisor. The duties include supervising the various licensed establishments around the city, also the conduct and the deportment of the officers assigned to the various details at the licensed establishments around the city. The hours of the detail run from approximately 10:30 p.m. till 2:30 a.m. on the date in question. At approximately 1:30 a.m., I could overhear a radio transmission from the Lowell Police Communications Center indicating that there was a large disturbance at the Europa Cafe on Back Central Street, 547 Central Street in the city of Lowell. I was in a different portion of the city at this time. I made my way to that location with my lights and siren on. While en route, I could hear other officers who had responded and arrived at the location before I got there, including Officer Panic, who was here today to testify. The officers reported a large disturbance and that they had numerous fights in and around the location of the Europa Cafe. As I drove up Back Central Street towards the location, I observed numerous people out in the street in front of the Europa Cafe. The traffic had ceased to move. Various cars, including police cars, were parked in front of the location. As I made my way in front of the Europa Cafe, I could see a stream of people coming down the right side driveway of the Europa Cafe and coming out into Back Central Street. I observed approximately, I'd say, between 5 and 8 people fighting directly in front of the Europa Cafe on Back Central Street. As I made my way up, I intersected them, sounded the siren a couple of times, and 2 separate fights that I observed on Back Central Street, people leaving the Europa broke up and they ran. I think a couple of them ran down North Street and a couple of them ran down Central Street towards downtown. I then made my way up the driveway area of the Europa Cafe. While I was doing that, I could observe numerous people, residents living in the neighborhood, had exited their homes, come out into the Central Street area. They were watching this large commotion with, I'd estimate, well over 100 to 150 people that were gathered in the area. Obviously, most of them coming down the driveway from the back of the Europa Cafe, which is owned by the Europa Cafe. At this point, I observed Officer Panic, several other officers which were in the back of the Europa Cafe, up the driveway into the back of the location. They were in the process of taking one individual into custody. He was actively fighting and resisting them. I believe one of the officers had to use OC spray to refrain him so that they could take him into custody and place him into handcuffs. As I made my way up there, I saw a large disturbance in the rear of the Europa Cafe. I made my way to the rear portion of the driveway, and I observed numerous people streaming out of the back of the Europa Cafe, including an individual by the name of Mr. Alfonso. There were several fights in this area. It was just essentially like a melee up in that area in the back of the Europa Cafe. At one point, I assisted in trying to move the crowd, and then at one point I observed Mr. Alfonso come down the side of the Europa Cafe, the side of the driveway, which is owned by the Europa, and he was yelling, swearing profanities. I observed him break a window of the Europa Cafe on their driveway with his right fist. Very shortly after that, both Officer Panic and I converged on him. We had managed to take him into custody. He had to be physically restrained, brought to the ground to be able to be handcuffed. Both him and the other individual that were taken into custody before Mr. Alfonso were very combative, very disorderly. They were yelling profanity, swearing. I formed the opinion based on their observations, based on their demeanor, their verbal deportment, and also based on what I could detect from them, a strong odor of intoxicating beverages off their person, that they were under the influence. At this point, the officers, I would mention, we probably had 12 to 15 police officers from the city of Lowell, almost everybody that was on duty at that time. I had to call for additional resources. And almost every police officer in the city needed to respond there. I think there were one or two other units that were on other calls that were not able to break away to get there. But we needed essentially every cruiser in the city, every police officer on duty to dispel this melee. The officers that were on the scene, in my opinion, showed great restraint in the number of people that were arrested. We could have easily made 15 to 20 arrests for people that were fighting or refusing to leave the area. I believe, in my opinion, based on what I saw, over-serving was a significant issue for the people that got into this type of behavior, refusal to leave, fighting, general melee conditions in the establishment. At some point, as we were waiting for the police transport wagon to come to take the two arrested individuals away, I saw Mr. Semeo outside in front of the establishment. I know him from years being on the job. I engaged him in a conversation, and I, in a very affirmative way, informed him that this behavior by his establishment was not acceptable and it was not going to be tolerated by the police department. I explained to him that I had to have every police officer in the city here to quell this disturbance, and that, in my opinion, the people that were exiting the location were overserved, that they were intoxicated. A couple of interesting things. At one point, I could detect an odor of what I believe to be an intoxicating alcoholic beverage on his person. I then asked him who was in charge of the location that night, knowing that he was, one of the owners. He informed me that he and his wife were in charge that evening. At that point, I very explicitly informed him that he was in no condition to be in charge of the licensed establishment that evening, that in my opinion he had been drinking, that wasn't appropriate. And I also told him that that this type of behavior could have had some consequence related to his level of intoxication. And I also told him that I'd be forwarding a request to the superintendent for discipline action to the License Commission based on this incident. He also told me that he requested a police detail for that evening, that he explained to me that some Brazilian group had rented the upstairs. After I left the location and we were able to disperse the crowd, I went back over the next couple of days and did some research. In fact, he did not request a police detail for that evening. Either he was mistaken or intentionally
Can I just ask,
confused the location.
is it policy that you write those things down? I mean, somebody calls for a police detail, it's recorded?
Sure, yes.
And then they have a disposition of whether an officer's assigned
Yes.
or not, but the fact that they called is always
Yes.
recorded, okay.
In addition to checking whether it was logged into the request of the software system, I also spoke to the officers that work in the detail assignment unit, and they did not receive a call from Mr. Samayo. So I obviously take issue with that, his allegation that he requested a detail. In any event, whether a detail was requested or not, the conduct of the people in the bar that night in the establishment and the general near riot condition that emanated from that location on that evening led to a severe public safety hazard for not only the people that were inside the establishment, the neighbors in the general area, also for the rest of the citizens of Lowell that evening, as probably for 30 to 35 minutes, it left the rest of the city without adequate police protection as we had to marshal our forces to quell this disturbance.
Thank you. Brian, you have any questions right now? You want me to?
I have no
Do you have any
questions right
questions
now.
right now? Okay.
No questions.
Do you have any questions, Counselor?
Not at this time.
Okay. Do you want to question him? You want me to go to the other policeman first? Pull the mic around then, Mike. Okay, pull the mic around so you can, is it on?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Yes.
Just a couple quick questions. Do you have any idea what type of function was going on inside the establishment in the upper hall that evening?
Just from the conversation with Mr. Samayo, he informed that he had rented it to a Brazilian group and that they were the problem.
And you made no further inquiry as to what type of function was going on upstairs, correct?
No.
Would you be surprised to learn, Captain Taylor, that there was no alcohol served at that function upstairs that evening?
I'd be very surprised.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Could we have the,
I
yes,
just have one question. Captain Taylor, just to follow up on a couple of issues. To your knowledge, is the upstairs portion of the Europa part of the licensed facility where alcohol is allowed to be served?
To my experience, it is, yes.
And the individuals that you saw exiting from the Europa, you observed them, in your expert opinion, to be intoxicated. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that's correct.
Thank you.
okay?
Two questions back on that.
Sure, redirect.
Captain Taylor, did you observe either one of those individuals being served or sold or delivered alcohol by a person inside the Europa Cafe?
No, I did not.
Okay. And Captain, with respect to the gentleman you saw break the window, did you see him inside the Europa Cafe at any point in time?
At one point, I went up to the back of the establishment. I observed him specifically exiting the rear of the location. So he was exiting from the general doorway area of the back. That's
Okay.
right.
Did you see Mrs. Samayo at that point in time?
Who's that?
Mrs. Samayo?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever ask the gentleman who broke the window if he was actually inside the Europa Cafe that evening?
That would not have been possible at the time. He was disorderly and was no condition to be able to submit to questions.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to go back to the station later?
No, I did not.
You didn't go back to the station after?
And question him, no.
Okay. You could have done that, correct?
I suppose I could have, that's right.
Okay, but you didn't do that?
No.
Okay. And with respect to the other gentleman, the minor that's alleged to have been served, again, you did not see him served alcohol by anybody or delivered alcohol or sold alcohol by anybody inside the Europa Cafe, correct?
I did not.
And as far as you know, Captain, you don't know if he was in there at all that evening, do you?
The juvenile?
Yeah.
The 17-year-old? I don't know. No, I don't know.
And again, you didn't come back to the station and ask him any questions,
No.
correct? Okay,
No, I did
thank you.
not.
Okay. Could we have the other officer testify? Would that be possible? And tell just, now, I want to just try to get one thing before you get, I want to know, Captain Taylor, you're like you go around and cruise and check on the bar, on details that are assigned to the bars, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's the
Is
assignment.
that for the whole city?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, okay, all right, so what I want to know is, how was the police department called? But did somebody in the bar call? Did a neighbor call?
I do not have that information. I know that the dispatch center said somebody called for a large fight. I don't know if it was a neighbor or somebody in the
You
bar.
know,
I don't
Jack?
I mean, I would stipulate the police report filed by Officer Panic says he responded to a call
He
from dispatch.
responded, I know, but my,
A call from dispatch for a fight
right.
in
But
the
who
area.
called
of-
dispatch?
I don't know who called it.
That's
I'm
what
sorry.
my
I thought you meant how they
No,
got
no.
dispatched to the...
I like to, I like to try to figure out how the call came in.
Sure.
Did the neighborhood call? Did somebody that worked in the bar call? Somehow or another, the call went through to dispatch. and-
I do know that they had numerous calls. I do remember that when we were en route, they reported numerous calls for the disturbance. And given the congestion in the area and the amount of residents that were outside
Okay.
observing this, it would seem logical.
Okay, thank you, Captain. If you introduce yourself and tell it in your own words.
I'm Officer Charles Panic with the Lowell Police Department. That night, I was assigned as a patrolman on the late night shift, and I responded to a fight at the Europa Cafe. And when I pulled up the driveway towards the back, there was a large number of people, probably about 100, 150 maybe, fighting, yelling, pushing each other, punching each other, so on and so forth. And I pulled as close to them as I could with my lights and sirens still on, and they acted like no one was even there. Other cruisers pulled in behind me. We have full lights and sirens on. Nobody moved. So I
The
exited my...
neighbors must have loved you.
Well, I was just trying to calm down the situation, sir, trying to get everyone to, stop their disorderly actions and fighting. So anyways, I subsequently exited my cruiser, tried to take control of the situation by informing one of the individuals, Mr. Rafael Cardozo, that he was under arrest, and he responded by pushing me and shouting some profanities at me. So I struggled with him briefly, had to administer some pepper spray, handcuffed him, still screaming, still yelling as much as he could, making quite the scene. And as I was bringing him towards the patrol wagon, or towards the staging area where the patrol wagon was going to pick him up, I saw another individual, Mr. Robson Alfonso, break a window with his right hand. So I grabbed him, and with the assistance of Captain Taylor, I was able to place him under arrest. And throughout this whole period, there was numerous people yelling, screaming, fighting, lots of police officers responding, trying to calm the situation down, residents coming out of their houses, traffic slowing to a halt. It was, it was quite the melee, sir.
Okay.
With respect to the first individual that you arrested, Cardoso, did you come to find out his age?
Yes, sir. I found out that he was 17 years old when I was doing my report later on, looking through his booking sheet.
Did you make any observations about his state of intoxication?
I would presume that he was heavily intoxicated, sir. He was slurring his speech. I could smell a strong odor of alcoholic beverage emanating from his person. Glassy eyes.
When you came up, did you see any of the individuals who were involved in the melee exiting from the cafe?
I can't say with any honesty either way. There was quite the disturbance. I was just concerned about everyone's safety and trying to calm the situation down.
Now, in your report, it states that you spoke to Mr. Simeo, the owner of the Europa Cafe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you just say in your own words what Mr. Simeo told you about the altercations that evening?
Well, he said that the upstairs had been rented out for a private function, and it was a 21-plus event. And he apologized for the actions of his patrons.
Did he ever give you any indication that, did he ever say, these people weren't in the cafe, this is not related to my business? Did he ever make any indication to you or to anyone else in your presence that the people who were doing the fighting didn't come from his establishment?
No, sir. It never came. That was never spoken. It was pretty evident to everyone there that's where they came from.
Thank you.
Okay. Ray, you have any questions? Anything you want to ask at this time? Brian, anything you want to ask?
Not of Officer Panic.
Okay. Do you have any redirect right now?
I do. Officer Panic, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
With respect to the 17-year-old, did you ever ask him if he was inside the Europa Cafe that evening?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever ask him if he was served alcohol by anybody inside the Europa Cafe that evening?
No.
Your testimony earlier was that you did not see him inside the Europa Cafe that evening, correct?
Right.
And you did not see him, you did not see anybody in the Europa Cafe serve him alcohol then? You couldn't have, correct?
Right.
Okay. And later on, you had an opportunity to go back to the police station, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you went down to the booking window, correct?
No, I was able to pull the booking information off the computer screen.
Okay, so you didn't go downstairs to the, after finding out he was 17 years old, okay, you didn't go down to the police, to the booking area and question him, did you?
No, sir, that's typically not the responsibility of a patrolman.
But you could have done that, correct?
I suppose I could have.
Okay.
Right.
And you could have told the supervisor that someone under the age of 17, you believe, became intoxicated at the Europa Cafe, which would be a crime for someone under the age of 21 to procure alcohol, correct?
Right.
And you didn't do that either, did you?
Well, it was indicated in my report, which was approved by a supervisor, so he was aware of the information.
Did you charge him with being a minor procuring alcohol?
No, sir.
Okay, you could have though, correct?
I didn't see him purchase alcohol, so.
Okay, thank you.
The individuals, you may not have seen them inside the Europa Cafe, but were they clearly on the property owned by the Europa Cafe?
Oh, absolutely. They were in the parking lot, feet from the building.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm all set.
Are we all set?
I'm also all set.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to
I'm-
call
I'm
Captain.
sorry.
I'd just like to call Captain Taylor
being
up for
so
one
quiet,
more
you know?
question. That's possible. I'd like to call Captain Taylor up for one more question.
Certainly, absolutely. Captain Taylor, please.
Captain Taylor, you had a conversation with the owner, Mr. Simeo, in the evening of the incident, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you speak to anybody else who was employed by the establishment that evening?
No, I did not.
Did Mr. Simeo ever suggest to you that the people that were out in the parking lot weren't from his establishment, they were trespassing? Did he ever make any kind of statements that would suggest he wasn't aware that they came from inside his establishment?
Oh, no, quite the contrary. He asked us, I think he specifically asked me if I could be reasonable in terms of my request for discipline to the License Commission.
So it would be your testimony that his demeanor and statements to you, in essence, indicated that he thought the people were from in his establishment.
It was absolutely an admission of guilt.
Thank you.
Of responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. You folks here in regards to this case, by any chance? No. Okay, I just didn't want to pass anybody up where it's a hearing. Okay.
I'm going to go back.
Yep, certainly, absolutely.
You know,
Go ahead.
The letter that my clients received from the License Commission's Executive Secretary, Mr. Nguyen, states that they're here for two reasons. That the illegality that took place on the evening in question are two things. Number one, the service of alcohol to a person under the age of 21, and the service of alcohol to somebody who was intoxicated. Again, there's been no evidence presented either by report or by the officer's testimony that those individuals were served alcoholic beverages by anybody inside the Europa Cafe, any employee of the Europa Cafe. There's statutes that set forth what the requirements are for violations of those, and there's been no proof that there were any violations of those. There may be the circumstantial jump to that conclusion that that Chief LaValle made in his letter. I would point out to you that that evening, the function that was going on upstairs at the Europa Cafe was a function where no alcohol was being served. The bar was not open. There is a bar upstairs. It was closed that evening. So as far as their ability to purchase alcohol that evening at the function hall upstairs, it wasn't possible. Secondly, the person who left the establishment and supposedly punched a window was observed exiting the back of the Europa Cafe and punched a window was somebody who approached the door, and Mrs. Simeo did not let in the establishment. When she did not let him in at about 1:30, 1:35, during when, as the crowd was being leaving the club. There was no disturbance inside the club. And there's no indication anywhere in any report that the disturbance emanated from inside this club. These were people out in the street, out after they've left the licensed premises. Granted, they're in the parking lot, but they're after they've left the licensed premises. This specific gentleman, the second person, not the minor, the second person who was denied entry, unleashed a barrage of vulgarity at Mrs. Sameo as she said, "You can't come in, sir," turned around and walked out, and I suggest to you that's probably the reason he punched the window. And actually, and if you look in the reports, they're the victim, they're listed as the victim of a crime here, the Sameos who own the licensed establishment. So with respect to what the allegations are in the letter that was sent out on January 9th, again, there is no evidence that the minor was served or the intoxicated person was served, which would be required for a finding of a violation. So I would, with respect to those two allegations, or the only two allegations in this letter, I suggest that the city has not proven that those occurred to satisfy any type of disciplinary action with respect to those two charges.
Well, Attorney Zame,
Yep.
from my reading of the letter, it appears that there's 3 allegations. Number 1 is allowing the illegality, disorder, disturbance to take place on the licensed premises. Number 2 is the delivery of alcoholic beverages for the person under 21. And number 3 is that they should not be sold or delivered to any intoxicated person. So there's 3. So I see the first 2. You addressed the under 21 and the intoxicated, but I don't see where you've addressed allowing an illegality to take place on the premises.
Again, I mean, maybe we're looking at 2 different letters. There's a January 2nd letter that was sent from appears to be addressed to the chairman of the License Commission from Superintendent LaValle.
The one that I'm looking at is addressed to Europa Cafe, attention Joe Sameo manager. It was sent on January 9th, 2009 via certified mail.
Right, and I'm looking at that as well right now. I wasn't sure which one you were looking at.
Yeah.
It reads 204 CMR.
Yeah.
Okay, and it tells us that you'll not allow certain things to take place, whether it be the sale of alcoholic beverages, and then it says the illegality in this instance. The next line, it says the illegality in this instance. Okay. And he points out two charges. And those 2 charges are the sale to a minor and the sale to an intoxicated person. So that's the illegality that took place. There is no complaint about a disturbance inside the licensed premise.
Well, it doesn't have to be inside, it has to be in or on the licensed premises. That's what the CMR says.
Pretty sure the
Well, I
the law
disagree
says
with
that
you.
the licensed premises are limited to the area where you can actually serve alcohol. It may be as part of the greater property, but I think the licensed premises are circumscribed.
And just if
by
you read the
4 walls
CMR, it
unless
says
with
in or on.
licensed outdoor seating.
That is the exact CMR as you have it there, sir.
Right, and it says in or on.
In or on the licensed premises.
right.
The parking lot is not licensed.
understand.
Oh, okay, I thought, I have, like I said, is this a situation where what we're seeing here and what the police department is seeing here is it appears the problems seem to be arising with the use of this function hall. Whether or not, technically, the police, the reports and the testimony can prove these allegations, like I said, is that we agree there's some issues out back there in this upper function hall. My clients are certainly concerned about this, and I'm not, technically, you may not have sustained these charges, but they realize there's some issues here. What they're suggesting is a possibility. One thing they've done, and I know that this has been done, is that they've contacted Madison Security Group. Madison Security Group offers a variety of different services. I spoke with Jack Knox personally yesterday, and from the Madison Security Group as to some of the things. We have a meeting scheduled for next week where they're going to sit down and do a security evaluation to address what their security needs are. As Captain Taylor pointed out in his report and in his testimony, even if they did call for a detail officer or not, one officer for what he arrived upon and found would not have been enough. They're going to bring in somebody, a professional, to address those concerns. It's starting off with, is that what we did yesterday was we sent a letter over to the police station by fax to the detail office requesting a detail for a specific evening of a function coming up. In the letter to the police department, we included in it the type of function it was. This particular instance coming up is a 25th birthday party. They've been advised by the contract that they've entered into with the people who are renting the function hall. What they've done is they've said the number of people that are going to be expected at this event. So they'll have an idea as to this is the number we're expecting on hand in our facility that evening. The second question of part of these contracts that we've developed is going to say something to the effect of the type of crowd you're expecting. If it's like you said, like you asked, is it a rock band? When it's, what is Slipknot? They're a rock band. That again lets the police department know, the facility know how to prepare and how to plan and what we're going to need, whether it's going to be extra people or not. This asks what type of crowd. Is it going to be a mixed crowd where there's a wedding, where there might be people over the age of 21, people under the age of 21? All different things that they feel as though they need, the security company needs to address their security needs. They also will be providing, very similar to what the police do with the stings, they offer those. They offer somebody who just goes in and observes to make sure, someone who just watches what everybody's doing, making sure the employees and the staff are doing what they're supposed to be and not doing things they aren't supposed to be, as well as doing the underage compliance on a private basis. So those are the things that they've contracted with the Madison Security Group to take care of. They've also suggested as a possible way to address not only their concerns for the public, for their neighborhood, and for the officer safety and the safety of their patrons, is perhaps rolling back the hours upstairs of the function hall as to what time that they would operate to. And that's one of the things that's included in that sheet that we send over, that we developed and sending over to the police department, saying, number one, if you can't get us a detail, if you can't fill the detail, would you please let us know? That way the security company can reevaluate what their needs are. In addition, part of that is going to be, there's a request in there, if you're unable to fulfill the detail that we've requested, that they then ask either the bar check supervisor or the street boss that evening that the function is scheduled to end at 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, whatever the time of the function is ending, and that they would ask, if possible, that they maybe assign either a portable to that route, or have the area cruiser be in the area, so that when people come out of the parking lot and onto the back Central Street, that hopefully they'll act with some decorum. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't do that, even in the presence of police officers. You heard the testimony here. People saw the police officer, and their response to the police officer was to push and shove him and swear at him. So sometimes, even the best intentions, you can't address that. And one final thing that they'd be willing to offer is, in addition to arranging a detail for inside their facility, to hire a private detail at their expense for a back Central Street portable for that area on nights that they're having functions, so that in addition to the inside officer who cannot be two places at once, you would have another person outside in that back Central Street neighborhood as added as a gesture as to, we don't want this happening either. We don't want to disturb the neighbors, but this is something that they're willing to explore with not only Madison Security Group, but with the police, the area police, if that's a possibility as far as assigning a portable to that area.
Yes.
I just wanted to respond to my brother's statement with just a couple of issues. First of all, with all due respect to my brother, there hasn't been any testimony as to whether or not this function had alcohol served or not. The the owners declined to testify at this hearing, and so I would suggest that my brother's statement in that respect is unsupported. Further, there's been no testimony as to whether or not the second individual, the one who punched the glass, was actually in the establishment or not. Again, we just have an unsupported statement by my brother, which isn't admissible as testimony. Finally, given the nature of this hearing, the board is entitled to take reasonable inferences from the evidence that's been submitted. I would suggest that, given the observations of the owner, the observations of his intoxication, the observations of both officers who testified as to the nature of the crowd, and I think crucially the fact that the owner of the establishment never told the responding officers that the individuals who were there weren't from his premises or weren't drinking at his premises, which I think would be a fairly important piece of information to pass on to the responding officers to an altercation like this. I believe the board does have sufficient evidence to act in response to this complaint. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may address those points.
Yep.
2 points that I would address. Number one, my clients didn't deny to testify. They didn't decline to testify. They're here. I summarized what their testimony would be. If my brother would like me to call them and direct examination and cross-examination, we could gladly do that. I summarized what their testimony would be. If that doesn't satisfy the board or my brother, I'll certainly call them and have them do direct testimony.
Satisfies me.
Yeah, I was just gonna, is that all right if I ask Mr.
Absolutely.
Mr. Smith, you're the manager of record of the Europa, correct? And currently you're on probation? Currently, the license of the Europa Cafe is on probation, correct?
Make sure the green light is on, please.
Press the button down below.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. And were you drinking the evening of this incident?
No,
No?
no.
Okay, so the testimony from both officers that you were smelled of alcohol would be false testimony?
He can probably say that because I probably put some wine. Or, when you were near, I don't know. But I do not drink when I'm working. I work in there with her.
Okay, that's...
And if you want to try, because I wasn't feel too comfortable, I drink ginger ale with just a color, sometimes with a wine.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
I guess after my hearing of the evidence, I think it's difficult to say for certainty, although I do believe it, that there was a 17-year-old in the premises who was drinking or was being served alcohol. But without anyone confirming that he was actually in the premises or observing it, I think it would be hard to find a violation of serving an underage individual. But serving an individual that was over 21, I think reasonably from the testimony from the police officers, reading their reports, and hearing what Attorney Zame had to say, it appears that, is it Mr. Cardozo, or the individual who broke the window, appeared to come from the back side of the building. And logically, it would seem to me that he came from the building itself, and he did smell of alcohol, and he was disorderly. So I would find that there's enough evidence to find a violation of over-serving or delivering alcohol to an intoxicated person.
Okay. Ray?
And I'm concerned because, if I believe the representation that's an alcohol-free event, I also fall back on, without incriminating my youth, what do we call it, life experience of people going to events and possibly drinking before them. It's not unknown. I would think that also if people go around and look in bar rooms, you're go into the bathrooms and you're going to find little bottles littering trash cans. No. I think the real problem here is these events, okay? These are problematic. It's not the first time we've had problems with people leaving these events and creating disturbances. I tell you, I would actually recommend, I can't make any requirements, that you guys seriously consider installing some video cameras for those function halls if you're going to continue to have events like that. I think those events are a bad idea because you end up having, well, that's for lack of a better word, hoodlums. You know, ruining things for a lot of other people. I'm sure there were a lot of people who, you know, might have gone to that event and enjoyed it and had a good time. And you get a couple of people who get into a fight. Next thing you know, it turns into a, you know, 12-alarm problem. So, again, I agree with my brother that I can't find evidence that a person under the age of 17 was served in there. I can't find any direct evidence that a person over the age of 21 was actually served alcohol in there, and would have to rely on the inference that a person that appeared to be under the influence of alcohol was seen, you know, exiting the rear of that in order to sustain that violation.
Okay? Well, I'm not even going to look at the violations. I'm looking at a public safety standpoint. They were on probation. If I was put on probation for my license, I would be camped out there 24/7. I have a hard time believing that all these people, whether they were a Brazilian party or whatever it was, all merged on this place, and poor Joe's there, and he's just overwhelmed. If I was on probation, I would have been screaming on the phone for police help. It's called 911. Get your ass down here and help me, because these people are not my customers. But they chose my parking lot to gather in. Unbelievable. I must have the worst luck in the whole world. Okay? That's why I guess this doesn't go through a judicial hearing as such, because I think a lot of common sense has to play into this. He was on probation at the time. He caused the entire city of Lowell to be put in jeopardy. Certainly, if there had been an accident and my mother or father or your mother had been in an accident, and the police couldn't have responded because they're all down here at this bar room trying to bust up a fight for somebody that's on probation. You know, it just doesn't even make sense. It just doesn't even make, and I can't justify it in my mind. Myself personally, I believe the people were in there. I understand what you're saying. Maybe the people upstairs weren't drinking, but the people downstairs were probably making up for it. I don't know. But all of these people did not show up there drunk. All of these people did not show up there, park their car outside, have a few pops, and then go inside and to party and come back outside to have a fight. If anything, the alcohol would have worn off after a while. It wouldn't, you know, if they weren't serving it inside. And that's not my place. I just think that there's got to be an awful lot of common sense. So I say to myself, here's a guy who's got a business that's on probation. My mom and dad live across the street. They're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, a police officer sitting in the driveway with the siren wailing and the lights going, and nobody's even paying it. They're so out of control, they're not even paying attention, waking up the entire neighborhood. Now, I'm sorry, but this is just the way I feel. The place is out of control. All of a sudden, he's going to go out and hire all these. He should have hired those people the last time he got in trouble. If he cared, he would have. He lied to the policeman when he said he called for a detail. The last time he got in trouble, they asked him, what he was doing. They asked him if he had a function. He said no, he had one the very next night. And then he said, I forgot about it. Well, you know what? The people that are paying taxes and living in that neighborhood deserve a good night's sleep so they can go to work the next day. They deserve the right to enjoy their homes. They probably have little children. and here's the sirens blasting. So now they're all out in the street, which, you know, not being a wise guy, but that adds to the confusion also. You know, and here's the police department with the rest of the city deserted. I'm sorry, it just, I can't have it. Common sense on this one tells you, you know, this has gone too far. He's been given chances in the past to rectify this. He had a probation going. He should have been right there on top of the thing. Would I believe Billy when, Captain Taylor, when he says he was drinking? Yes, I would. Because Bill Taylor sat on this board for many years, and Bill was always the first guy to say, give them a break. They're going out. Step out of the way for a second. Where's Bill? Bill, they're going to church. They're not going to church, right? That was Bill's saying. And he taught us that, to say, you know, you want to look at this and try to understand both sides. But this is out of control. This is totally out of control. This is going to mean, you know, this left the entire city exposed. And, you know, fortunately no police officers got really hurt. But had they gotten hurt, that would just be another burden on the taxpayer. And here's some guy who's out at night on the cruiser, and he doesn't go home to his family because he's down there busting up a fight. I'm making a motion. I make a motion to revoke the license. The place has been a problem to the neighborhood. It's a problem to public safety. It's a problem to the licensing board. He's been given enough breaks as far as I'm concerned. That's my motion. Okay, no, motion dies? Okay, motion dies.
See, my concern is that you normally run a very good business. It's a place where the district court chooses to have its parties. Bar associations held several of their functions there. Charitable groups have held fundraisers there. The problem seems to be when you're having these younger groups, and if my memory serves me, it was another type of music event the last time that we had a problem. So I got to ask myself, if you know that this crowd is what's creating your problems, why are you having them?
Because you don't care. He's letting the almighty buck rule the place, and he doesn't care about the neighborhood or the people that live there. And if your mother or father lived across the street, you'd be looking at it differently too.
Oh, I mean, I also live in walking distance,
Well,
so I kind of have a perspective on the neighborhood.
I don't know, Captain, where is Grove Street? Groves? Groves? Groves Ave, yeah. It's, one of the kids the kid that was punching the windows is the kid, he lives in the same neighborhood, so he's disrespecting his own neighborhood.
you give him an excuse to do it, Michael. People do crazy things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this has been a consistent problem. Are we going to wait until some police officer gets hurt and lands in the hospital and he doesn't go home? Are we going to wait until someone in the neighborhood gets severely hurt? Are we going to wait until folks have a nervous breakdown because this nonsense is going on next? They're in a residential neighborhood.
And I don't see any residents here today.
They should be the first ones to reach out to the neighbors.
There's no
Now all of a sudden it's, oh, we're going to hire this and we're going to do this.
There
They
are no
never even
neighbors here
called.
today at all. There are no neighbors here today, and I've heard you say time and time again, Mr. Bayless, sitting from that chair, if it was my neighborhood and it was that bad of a disturbance and it was that bad of a problem,
Right.
I'd be there.
But folks don't
Nobody's
look at it
ever
the same.
been-
No.
nobody's ever down
Folks
here.
don't look at this type of a hearing, a hearing on a complaint, the same as a public hearing. If you want to announce it as a public hearing, Counselor, we can do that.
It is announced as a public hearing, Mr. Bayless.
Correct me if I'm wrong, unless a neighbor had a direct observation of the alleged illegality, they wouldn't be able to testify today anyways, because the hearing is just regarding the events of this time. So if it was a neighbor concern, I know we had this problem with the Dubliner. They weren't allowed. We had people here all over that couldn't, but couldn't because they didn't have observations. Is that
Right.
correct?
This isn't a general hearing as to the
You
license.
understand?
This is
The
a
person, the neighbor,
specific hearing.
would have had to been up at 2 o'clock in the morning, out there watching and actually seeing it happen in order to have the right to come in and talk about it, okay? Unlike if a bar is coming to in your neighborhood and you want to speak against it for a reason not to have it there, that's a public.
And again, there's the allegation, the two allegations of the service, nobody saw that.
I'm not arguing from that standpoint, Counselor.
And then they saw the disturbance that you're talking
This place has become a public safety hazard. A hazard to the community, a hazard to the police, a hazard to the safety of the people in the area. It has become, it's like trying to talk to people about a drug deal in your bar room. If you miss it and a drug deal happens, it's like throwing a pebble in the lake. You never can get the ripples back. You might as well shut the bar down. Well, this place has got the reputation, I guess you can go there and have some really good wild times, Six Gun City. All of these people don't just decide to go to Joe's parking lot because it's there. That's what I'm trying to say.
When was it back in August or September when you had the hours rolled back by this board? Is that when it occurred?
The hearing was, I believe, September, and the hours were rolled back. I think the hearing was September 2nd. The hours rolled back from September 21st through October 21st, I believe, were the dates and if you'd give me a second, I could.
What was he put on probation to March for?
21st, 21st of September to 21st of October.
Right, the hearing was the 4th, was that hearing.
Now, were there any issues with the hours being rolled back? Were there any disturbances? So when we rolled back the hours, that worked in terms of preventing disturbances. I know, I'm just asking the question.
I mean, after that.
No, the probation was for this whole incident.
Well, it worked, but not financially.
Not financially, but it worked in terms of creating a safe environment for the public.
In fact, we had some events scheduled, and once they found out that we could only be there until.
But I'm not so much concerned about the money as I am the safety of the public.
I mean, I agree, like I said, is that technically, you may not have the elements, but I mean, we agree that there's issues here.
Right.
And that's why the suggestion, again, and it is emanating from the upstairs facility.
Right.
And again, that's why the suggestion, was to, roll back and roll back as far as, that function hall goes. That the function hall be rolled back in terms of hours.
Can you explain to me, Counselor, if you're telling me that the function that they just had upstairs was a non-alcoholic function, but they were serving downstairs?
They're two separate,
Two separate places.
Yes, two separate places, yes.
And this got that far out of hand. How can you, and you're saying there were no drinks served upstairs, and yet this melee got that far out of hand. These were people that obviously had been drinking. They came from the downstairs. If the upstairs wasn't serving alcohol, they had to come from the downstairs.
Well,
I mean, the police can't be all that wrong with that many drunks.
Well,
I mean,
again, and with no disrespect, the police have a tough job. They arrived, they were handling it. I find it, they have a rough job, they have a tough job. They responded, they did some things, they took some actions. How they were able to observe that that everybody was intoxicated and everybody was out, I think they had their hands full. For them to be able to observe all these other things and form the opinion that everybody was intoxicated. Again, our concern is that obviously the public safety concern, they did a nice job, doing what they did. Only 2 people arrested. They showed great restraint if it was as bad as they testified that it was. But only 2 people were arrested. I find that if it was that bad and every cruiser in the city had to respond, the superintendent says only 6 police officers responded. Okay? They said everybody, then they said no, almost everybody, and then, the only 2 people we hear about here, there's only 3 officers we hear about being involved in this whole thing. Officer Hanson, Officer Panic, and Captain Taylor. Nobody else wrote a report. Nobody else arrested anybody. And if it was that bad, where are the other arrests?
I think in a case like that, Counselor, they have to make some discretionary calls. I think that they probably look at it from the standpoint, if they can get the police officer, they can calm it down, they can get the people out of there.
Well,
I think that they have a venue here that they bring that complaint to and tell it, I think that one way or another, you gotta stop for a second. They're trained to evaluate, I think they're trained to evaluate the situation, make a determination as to whether to pursue an altercation or to just try to get people to move along. You got to remember, I'm looking at it from the standpoint they were talking about the neighbors being out there and everything. This had to be kind of a horrendous situation if it was the way they described. And I believe that it was. It didn't do them. I looked at his face when he said, I pulled the cruiser right up the driveway. I had the siren blaring away, the lights going, and nobody moved. I looked at his face when, I don't need to look at any notes. I looked at his face, and I could tell he was probably shocked at the time, because the expression on his face just now when he was telling us, he said, nobody moved. I said that jokingly. I hope the neighbors forgive me, but, I'm sure that they were delighted at 2 o'clock in the morning to have all these sirens and everything going off. I'd probably be pretty upset myself, being the calm, cool guy, you know what I mean?
And
it would probably bother me.
Counsel, I'm going to tell you, if you're surrounded by 150 people and it's a disturbance or a potential to get explosive, your first priority is going to be to move them away from you.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. You're not speaking to someone who hasn't been in those situations myself from a past experience, my past experiences. And again, I understand that. And again, at the same time, a lot of things are happening around you. A lot of things are happening very fast. And to be able to make as many observations and draw as many conclusions from those observations, it's a little bit difficult to do. With respect
They're trained to do it. That's their job.
With respect to the individuals they had in custody, certainly. With respect to those people, again, it's something that.
Okay, we're gonna.
I understand.
Well, will they waive the 14 days?
Yeah, they can do that. Yep. Ask them. He's their counsel.
No, I know.
They're represented.
Before us today, we can revoke or suspend the license. We don't have the authority to roll back the licenses, to roll back the hours on the license, right? Unless you're willing to waive the 14-day notice of that. If not, we'll have to have you come back for a further hearing with proper notice to consider rolling back hours.
Basically, by statute, we have to give you 14 days' notice from the date of the letter to the date of the hearing.
Well, to roll.
We don't have that.
No,
would you waive the 14 days so that we don't have to schedule another hearing for that purpose?
Yeah. Now, my understanding is that you can roll them back to 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Statutory.
Yeah, but what they're saying is you were not notified in writing in advance of this hearing that was one of the options. You were notified that we could revoke the license or suspend it. They're asking you, you're representing, you want to take them out in the hall and talk to them for a minute?
No, I understand what you're saying.
They're asking you, are you willing to waive the 14-day notice if they're willing to make a ruling?
Yes, we're willing to waive that, the 14-day requirement.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we that we suspend the license for 7 days, and that we suspend that for 1 year, and we roll back the hours from 11 to 11 of the upstairs banquet facility for a period of 6 months. That would be my motion.
I'll second that motion.
On the motion, why are you gonna allow them to run the bar downstairs till 2 o'clock in the morning when they just,
I just want to check with Ryan. My understanding would be that this is one license facility, there's not separate licenses. I'm not sure that the license can be split that way. In other words, I'm not sure you can say, we're rolling back the hours on the upstairs and not on the downstairs. I think you either have to roll back the hours on the license, I mean, that's our,
and that's what you
or
should
not.
do.
I mean, that's, unfortunately, I think that's the,
I think
I think we're just hamstrung that way.
Yeah, no, I just think the concern is that where we're consistently seeing the problem is these upstairs functions.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying I think that the board might be restricted, given that there is one license, not two licensed facilities.
That's my question to
I mean,
Counselor. How could the upstairs not be serving alcohol, the downstairs be serving alcohol, and this thing gets so far out of control?
It's just a question of whether it's upstairs bar open. I guess here's the issue. If we can't do it, can we enter into a stipulation to do it?
That was going to be my, can we stipulate to that? Some way, shape, or form where they agree to, the only thing, and I say that in terms of a, in terms of, certainly in tough financial times, it's very difficult when upstairs, helps them stay and helps them keep a business afloat in the city of Lowell by having functions. And traditionally, you would say a function, whether it be a Jack and Jill or something else, run 8 to midnight. They'd be willing to stipulate to a midnight closing time upstairs for 6 months. Do a suspended sentence, 7 days, or 3, 4, 5, 7 day suspended, hanging over them with that stipulation as to the upstairs, and then reevaluate it if it's working in 6 months, come back in 6 months, and either continue the stipulation or let this board decide whether or not they could lift that. And
this is for the law department. If we enter into a stipulation and there's a violation of it, are we going to be able to act on that stipulation?
That's what I was about to say. Is that number one? I think the board could probably enter into a stipulation. I'm not sure it's, number one, enforceable as a violation of
Who's going to enforce
the license.
it, Counselor?
And number two, I would defer to the police officers, but I see a real problem with enforcing it just on the ground. If I'm not familiar with the premises, I don't know how an officer on patrol would be able to determine the lower portion is it's 1 a.m. The lower portion is open. The top portion is supposed to be closed. How is that enforceable on the ground? And if it's not enforceable, I would be concerned about the purpose for it. But your question was whether or not we would be able to enforce it in a hearing. Yeah. I'm not sure that it would be enforceable.
That's like issuing 2 liquor licenses to the same establishment. One liquor license has this. Now all of a sudden you got a problem. The guy says, "Whoa, wait a minute. That wasn't my liquor license. That was the downstairs liquor license." The downstairs guy says, they were drinking upstairs. It was his liquor license.
I think the one thing that I'm concerned about is I don't think empty storefronts in the city of Lowell are a good thing. And I think they've have had some issues, but they are investing into the community. The Back Central neighborhood is up and coming. They just opened that new store on the corner, and it's improving. And I think the Europa can be a benefit to the community if they take their responsibility serious. And this is an opportunity for them to show that they will do that. But if it's not feasible, then That was my suggestion. I don't know if it.
May I
Commissioner
may
White-
I
I'm going to say
suggest-
that I think that, my thoughts are just in line with yours. I mean, the problem is that, let's be honest, the type of people who are going to be getting into this kind of trouble don't go out until 11 o'clock. All right? Enough said. People who are going to be doing this kind of stuff aren't going out at 7 o'clock to attend a party and getting into a fight at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. The people who are holding family functions, well, to be honest, if you got a mixed age crowd, you're not going to have a lot of people there, after 11 o'clock anyway. Because if you've got kids, you're going to be taking them home. So when you're having banquets and functions and stuff like that, I think 11 o'clock is a pretty reasonable hour for that. I think when you're having the type of events that draw gangs or crowds or the type of people who, present this kind of a danger to, an officer getting out of his vehicle with his lights on and they don't disperse, they're all coming out that hour, and I think that's the problem. I think that my fellow commissioner is right. We don't need more empty storefronts, and I think my brother could tell me, from the law department, what would be the effect of revoking a license that is scheduled to renew, I guess, having just renewed. With the building owner being the same, my calculation would be that we couldn't have another business in place there until January 1st of 2011, if we were to, so basically we would have an empty storefront for the next 2 years. Is my math right?
Well, I mean, if you're asking whether or not the current owners would be able to reapply, I mean, I would defer to Mr. Nguyen as to the time frame within that could happen between after a license revocation. I would suggest that there would be nothing from preventing another establishment.
I think the statute specifically says that if the owner of the building is also the holder of a license,
oh, that's right,
no new license can issue there for 1 year after the end of the renewal
So they can
period.
open a variety store.
No
They can open a nice little restaurant. We can't justify allowing these people to have a liquor license because we're worried about them paying taxes to the city of Lowell. If one of our policemen had gotten seriously hurt that night, the taxes these folks would pay to the city of Lowell wouldn't be a drop in the bucket as to what the city would be paying to take care of that policeman and his family, which they should do, So, I mean, please don't sit there and tell me that we're going to justify allowing these people to be in business because we're worried about one storefront being closed. That is a very, very well-kept neighborhood. The people that you drive around that neighborhood, the property, the homes are kept up extremely well, and I am sure, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever, that just as Barry's Bakery that was down the corner there, they went out of business, there was a business moved in there in a very short period of time. Please, don't do that. Please don't do that to me. They don't deserve a liquor license because we're worried about paying taxes. Their taxes are not going to make that. In fact, have they renewed their liquor license?
Commissioner, may I just interject one thing? The licensing board for the city of Lowell is solely responsible for the granting of licenses to those responsible people who may sell or serve alcohol beverages to the public. That's your role. That's your only role. If another authority of the city of Lowell was to request of this board to entertain other issues, I'm sure by way of the law department, that would be brought before you, whether it has to do with a tax-related issue or a civil matter to do with empty storefronts. I know the city manager of Lowell has a great deal of concern about storefronts in the city of Lowell, downtown in particular. And I think the Europa Cafe is part of the downtown area. If the city manager wanted the licensing board to weigh that consideration at this point in time, you would have heard about it. I think I just want to underscore one thing, what Attorney Zame had pointed out in the notice of hearing. He's correct. and I appreciate Attorney Zame's comment on the notice of hearing, because that's all the licensing board need do at this time, is look at the notice of hearing and leave it to that and only that. Captain Taylor is a seasoned veteran with the Lowell Police Department. I've known Captain Taylor for all the years I've been with the License Commission Office. Captain Taylor knows the inside story of each and every licensed establishment in the city of Lowell. He knows Mr. Samayo. He knows Mr. Samayo because Mr. Samayo has been in business in the city of Lowell for over 20 years. He's had licenses to sell and serve alcohol beverages. Mr. Samayo is the responsible individual. Where the Madison Security is hired to take on issues relating to video or anything else to do with the premises, Mr. Samayo is the licensee of record. He is the responsible man of record. Gentlemen of the board, that's all you have to look at. Look at the notice of hearing. That's it. Don't concern yourselves with the empty storefront. The city manager of Lowell is paid very well by the city to can be concerned about the storefronts. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, for a moment, suggest that you continue the matter to, for a month to see if, between my office and the solicitor's office, you could put some type of stipulation that would satisfy this board and that would be enforceable toward the end of what we're trying to accomplish. There seems to be some questions as to whether or not, even if you did stipulate into something today, whether or not it would be enforceable, and there may be some things that we can work out to put in place as part of that stipulation, and as part of that, that if there was a breach of that there would be some consequence, as whether it be we accept a 14-day or a 30-day or a revocation of the license. Whether or not something like that would be able to iron something out that was to everybody's satisfaction, and to be able to have it to address your concerns, that it be in fact enforceable.
Without looking further into the issue, I wouldn't be able to advise the board as to whether or not what my brother's suggesting would be possible. But if the board wants the law department to take a look at it, we can certainly do so.
Why don't we make a motion to continue the hearing and direct the law department to report back as to whether it is feasible to enter into a stipulation and what the recourse would be for a violation of that stipulation. And I think it might be a good for us to know that anyways for future hearings. I know it hasn't been done in the past, but the law is constantly evolving, and I think this quasi-judicial board can evolve too.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I think, other than that, all we have, if we can't do the stipulation, the motion currently pending is just for a 7-day suspension, suspended for a year. I like the idea of being able to go beyond that and be a little more creative and try to eliminate the source of a problem. So I would like to continue this and see if the law department, finds whether they find that we can set up kind of a system where we can eliminate the source of the problem, because we do have a business that's been around for 20 years that has had
a source to eliminate
couple
the problem.
but we've got a 20-year
You
business that's had
send
a
a
couple of bad
message.
months.
You send a message. How many times are we going to have the minimum? How many times do you want to give these people probation until somebody gets seriously hurt, and then you say, "Gee, I'm sorry, I didn't know." What Ryan said is true. Captain Taylor's been here since the day I came here. He's always been the first one to he knows the ins and outs of every license in the city. And he's always been the first one to say, they're not going to church. Let's see if we can work with them.
And
Well, we've tried working with
nobody
these
is
people.
discrediting
We've
either
talked to
officer's
these people.
testimony.
We've tried to make them understand. They don't understand. Is you making a motion?
I made a motion to continue.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Do we have a date?
It's continued.
Let
me slip
Do we need more than,
What?
do we need more than 2 weeks?
I note here the next meeting is the February 12th, and I have a conflict on that date.
February 26th?
I'm away that week
You're
as well.
away the 12th and the 26th?
Yes. Actually, 12th I have a trial, and the 26th I'll be in Florida.
I mean, I'd prefer to do it
You
earlier.
have an associate attorney's name, don't you?
I do.
He could handle it, couldn't
He
he?
certainly
Yeah,
could.
there you go. We'll see you on the 12th. Or your
February 12th.
associate.
February 12th?
Yes.
Unless we settle.
Okay.
I'll be here. If not, Attorney Durkin will be here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
One matter of unfinished business, members of the commission, if I may introduce Colleen McDonald from the auditorium on behalf of the Backstage Concessions and on behalf of Mill City Management. For a special one-day license to sell and dispense alcohol beverages, malt beverages and wine only, or either one, Thomas McKay and Backstage Concessions for events scheduled for Winterfest 2009, Friday, February 6, 2009, 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., Club Celsius and the Nordic Nightclub, Arcan Drive. That'll be a tent enclosed area. Also, that'll be Saturday, February 7th, 2009, from 12 noon to 12:30 a.m. That's Club Celsius, the Nordic Nightclub. Backstage Concession is seeking a beer, an all-alcoholic license for Saturday, February 7th, 2009, from 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. It's the Club Fahrenheit sponsored tent, which will be at the Lowell 5, 1 Merrimack Plaza. There is a communication on file from Robert A. Caruso, who is the chairman of the Lowell 5 Cent Savings Bank, dated January 7th. The bank has received a liability policy of, I believe, $1 million, and that'll to cover the use of the grounds for a alcohol sale and service. Colleen McDonald is here.
Why don't you,
Questions?
well, why don't you do the
Okay,
auditorium
and
too at the
then
bottom?
to
Get 'em
change
all.
from alcohol to public
She's
amusement.
multitasking today. She's gonna
Yes.
be the bartender, the entertainer, hey.
I'm
The
really dressed, I'm
auditorium
really Big Bird
has-
Walter.
The auditorium has, through Mill City Management, a number of events coming up in the March, starting with the show Super Scientific Circus, Wednesday, March 4th. That'll be 10 in the morning to 1 p.m. the Peking Acrobats on Thursday, March 12th, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. A concert one night with Queen, that's Friday, March 20th, from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Larry the Cable Guy, there'll be 2 separate shows, 2 separate entrance fees for March 28, 2009. First show at 5 p.m., the second at 8 p.m. The Lord of the Dance on Thursday, April the 30th, from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And
Larry's not going to get gross, is he?
Who knows?
You're going to be there, right?
You bet your life.
And the last 2 events would be Moving Out on Thursday, May 7th, from 8 p.m. to 11, and Vince Gill concert on Wednesday, June 10th, 2009.
Vince Gill.
Vince Gill. Who's Vince Gill?
Country.
Is he?
Country Western.
Country Western music?
He sings both types, country and western.
Amy Grant.
Amy Grant.
Oh. Oh, God. I got to mark that one, too. Something my era. No.
Are you going to both shows of Larry the
No,
Cable
I'm
Guy
going to go to
back
Larry the
back?
Cable Guy early. My wife said, he better not be gross. Get her done.
And you're going
Any
to
questions about any of the shows?
No
Huh?
questions.
Hey, can you drag this guy to Lord of the Dance as well?
If he wants to.
Oh, man. You know, the children one time bought me tickets to and my wife tickets right down front. And the dancing is so...
Loud.
Well, it's not only loud, but the beat, it actually gets you hot. You're sitting there, and it's just like, oh, you'd like it, Ryan.
Can you get him?
You'd like it.
Can you get him a back row seat?
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
get
make
him
a
all
motion
excited.
to approve the licenses. What did
Second.
you do? Fall asleep?
Second it.
What?
Did you fall asleep down there? You were late.
I was
It's not
just
like you.
caught up with Big Bird and Elmo.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Motion made and
Okay,
seconded.
motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
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 Thank you, and I apologize for being
That's
late.
all right. No problem at all.
You're going to go to Vince Gill, too?
I have never heard of Vince Gill, so I don't know. Would it?
Just quickly, I wanted the License Commission to be aware that I have never seen this before, and I just wanted to point it out. Registry of Motor Vehicle has given a used car dealer licensee a good standing, a notice of good standing, and that's the first I've ever seen.
Really?
Paul Galakis of Scenic Motors has complied with the stipulation of the document control manager at the Registry of Motor Vehicles.
It's amazing the things you can do, huh? Just amazing. Accept the letter and place it on file. Anything else to be brought up? Do you have anything you'd like to bring up, Captain Webb?
No, sir, nothing.
No? Are you folks just sitting as observers because you like us, or? Oh, okay, you guys see Ryan, all right. How about you, sir? Mark, is there anything you'd like to bring up?
Mr. Goldman,
We
you
haven't
come to
seen
all
you
of
here
these meetings.
recently. We thought you fell in a snowbank, or at least we were hoping, you know? Okay.
I wasn't hoping that you fell in a snowbank.
You should hear what he says when he's not on mic,
Yeah.
okay?
That's why it's called off the
Motion to
record.
adjourn,
Seconded.
motion to adjourn, seconded, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Coming home, Benjamin. Yep.